For decades, we've been getting really good at reading the code of life. But now, something is changing in a massive way. Artificial intelligence is it's starting to write it. So let's break down how this incredible revolution, right at the intersection of biology and computation, is actually happening. Just think about that for a second. What if we could do that? A world where life-saving drugs aren't a decade-long gamble, but something we can develop with incredible speed. I know, it sounds like pure science fiction, but this is the genuine promise of the AI revolution in biotech. And it's a promise that was born out of a huge, incredibly expensive problem. So why do we need this change so badly? Because of this number, $2.6 billion. That's the average cost, and that's factoring in all the expensive failures along the way to bring just a single new drug to the people who need it. It is an absolutely staggering number, and it's the real reason this whole field is being completely reimagined from the ground up. Okay, so how is AI supposed to fix this? Well, this is way more than just using computers to analyze data a bit faster. We are making a huge leap from just observing biology to actually engineering it with results we can predict. The engine at the heart of all this is deep learning. The best way to think about it is as this incredibly powerful system that can read the entire library of life, all the biological data we've ever collected, and find connections and patterns that are totally invisible to us. It's learning the complex grammar of our DNA, our RNA, and our proteins. And to do all this, scientists have developed a set of highly specialized tools. Don't worry about the jargon, just think of these different AI models as a dedicated toolkit, where each tool is perfectly designed for a very specific biological job. First up in the toolkit, we've got the sequence readers. These are called recurrent neural networks. Think of these guys as the AI grammar experts. Just like they can understand how the order of words in a sentence creates meaning, they can read the sequence of molecules in a strand of DNA to understand its genetic instructions. Pretty cool, right? Next, we have the pattern spotters, convolutional neural networks. These are kind of like the visual artists of the AI world. They are brilliant at recognizing shapes and patterns in images, whether that's finding a specific kind of cell under a microscope, or, crucially, seeing the exact folds in a 3D protein that determine what it actually does. And finally, we have the molecule architects, or graph neural networks. These AIs see molecules for what they really are: complex 3D maps of atoms all connected to each other. And this unique perspective lets them not just analyze drugs that already exist, but to actually design brand new molecules from scratch, predicting exactly how they'll behave before they're even made. So we have the toolkit. But this next part, this is where things get truly mind-bending. We're moving beyond just predicting the shape of proteins that already exist, which is what the famous AlphaFold did, to generating completely new ones that have never, ever existed in nature before. So this new process is called inverse design, and it's a total game changer. Instead of the old way, finding a key and then running around trying to find which lock it fits, scientists can now describe the lock. They can say, here's the biological job I need done. And the AI designs the perfect key from scratch. It literally works backward to create the exact protein they need. And researchers have this fantastic term for this creative process. They call it hallucination. And it's just perfect, right? It totally captures how these AI models can seemingly dream up entirely new, fully functional proteins out of thin air, all from just a simple prompt. And hey, this isn't just theory. Check this out. In a real-world test, an AI was fed millions of antibody sequences. And then it was just told, okay, go invent some new ones. It came up with 107 designs that had never existed. The result? Almost 80% of them actually worked, successfully binding to their target. This isn't science fiction anymore. It's happening right now. So we've got these incredible new tools, these amazing new techniques. But how does this all circle back to where we started? How does this amazing technology actually solve that massive $2.6 billion problem? Well, the impact it's just staggering. We're talking a potential cost reduction of up to 70%, development timelines cut in half, and maybe the most important number on here, a near doubling of the success rate for drugs entering early clinical trials. So AI isn't just making a process cheaper, it's making it fundamentally better. I mean, just look at this. Look at the difference in the timeline. We're talking about potentially shaving an average of 6 years off the drug development pipeline. That is 6 years sooner that a life-saving treatment could get to the patients who desperately need it. And this is all about de-risking the entire process. Traditionally, it's basically a coin toss whether a drug will even pass the first stage of human trials. But with AI-designed candidates, the success rate could jump as high as 85%. That means we're starting the race with much, much stronger runners. But, of course, with promises this big, there are going to be some equally big hurdles. This technology is incredibly powerful for sure, but it is not some simple plug-and-play solution. There are some really significant challenges we have to overcome. Probably the biggest challenge is what's known as the black box problem. For a long time, we knew these models worked, but we couldn't actually see how they were making their decisions. And that's a huge problem for scientists and especially for regulators. The solution is this new field called Explainable AI, or XAI, which is all about making the AI's thinking process transparent and trustworthy. And that black box problem is really just the start. The path forward means we have to navigate a whole maze of other challenges. Things like protecting patient data, finding enough high-quality information to even train these massive models, getting our regulations up to speed, and maybe most importantly, tackling the huge ethical questions this kind of power raises. So when we look ahead, the trajectory is pretty clear. The lines between different technologies are just blurring. We are absolutely heading toward a future where AI, quantum computing, and maybe even biohybrid systems that use living neurons all converge to solve problems that right now are completely beyond our reach. Which leaves us with one final and pretty profound question. The technology to read, to edit, and now to write the code of life is here. The power is immense, the potential for good is extraordinary, but the responsibility is even greater. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, who gets to decide what it says?